I think the challenge in the home is how do we translate things that are precious and special into the language that today's adolescents, for example, can understand. You know, you take the Sabbath, for example. I think simply to tell kids today that, look, the Bible teaches that the seventh-day Sabbath is the Sabbath you've got to keep, that actually doesn't do much anymore. But I think to actually be able to explain, you know, how amazing it can be to actually have one day a week where you do something different, where you actually value different parts of your life that are not valued so much during the other 6 days where you've got to achieve and do schoolwork and do this and do whatever, and you have one day where you do things that are different and that nurture relationships with each other and with God. To explain it in that kind of a way is going to make a lot more sense. I don't think the language that we use always connects with today's generation. I think the challenge is how to make it into something that's meaningful, particularly when your kids are adolescent. And that's probably when, for a lot of families, they actually lose the ritual of family worship. And I think it's a pity, because I'm a firm believer in the importance of rituals, but it's how to do that in a way that's meaningful for adolescents.
It's even harder because of social media, everything on the internet, so they want to be more entertained than reading from the Bible or reading a daily devotional book. So, as Paul said, when the children are younger, it's easy to do the Bible story, teach them how to pray. They can even read the Bible stories, but it's when they become teenagers that I think it's really hard.
And I wonder whether the ritual needs to be broadened a little bit, so then include God in that, so we're connecting with each other and we're connecting to God. It is about relating and connecting. One of the things, and you and I have talked about this, one of the things that is a big deal for me, I was a school counsellor for 6 years, and I realised fairly quickly that if they came from a family who actually sat down and had dinner together around the table, that was the exception. That by far the majority of kids didn't come from families where they ate together. I think that's been crowded out by social media and you know, our race towards a crazy kind of individualism where everyone does their own thing. And so I think we're really losing something, and I think losing something spiritual and not doing something like making sure we eat together and nobody's on their phone and the TV's off. And I think if we do things like that, then there's also the opportunity to share something that God may have done for us during the day, or a prayer that's been answered, or something that we are concerned about that we can all pray about together. And I think that's then a lot more natural.
And I think it's a real challenge to find something today to engage our teenagers.
Yeah, I teach in a tertiary institution, and for some of my young people, 18, 19-year-olds, you would think the world would end if they don't check their phone for 50 minutes for one lecture. Yeah, I think we're absolutely obsessed with social media, and while there's some good and positive things about that, I think there's also many negatives, because we connect now via text messages, we connect via Instagram, we connect via Facebook. But that's a superficial connection because it's one we can manipulate. And we don't put enough emphasis, anywhere near enough emphasis, in the one-to-one connection. I think that really, because spirituality is about connection and spirituality happens in the context of connection, I think anything that messes up that connection is a danger, and certainly social media does. And the options for entertainment, whether that's with Netflix, whether that's with cable TV or whatever people use, the options for entertainment are so great, and I think quite seductive, because it takes a lot less energy to be entertained than it does to connect.
We have such busy lives, and so you feel like you're rushing all the time to connect with people, and you're running out of time. You aren't seeing the people that you want to see, and then the week starts again.
I think we're in a culture where we're obsessed with doing, and our worth and our success is measured to a large extent by how much we get done. And I think
achieve.
And how much we achieve. And I think that robs us of the time to just be, and to be with each other, and to be with God, I think.